is a country man.
On direct live.
And southern ends, they ain't shy about what they think or making a stand. What we're talking about is a country man. What we're talking about is a country man. What we're talking about is a country man.
Oh, somebody needs to turn down their volume. Hang on.
Going on?
Bloody volume's feeding through on the other computer.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, well, somebody's watching the show on their other on the other computer there. It's feeding through. It's the funniest thing when I went to shut the curtains to the balcony. I've got my little bonsai tree out there with a little pond that I created for it, and when I peeked out, there was a bird taking a bath in it.
Nice. Have you named your birds yet?
They had names last year. I don't remember what their names are this year. The boys named them last year. They show. We don't feed them or do anything for them, but I realize now they're coming for the water. That's what they're coming. It's like, why are you guys even hanging out here? I don't put any food out. It's like, oh, you're here for the water. And now that I've caught you taking a bath in my little pond for my bonsai tree, and now I know exactly why you guys are all hanging out. Drink the water and take a bath in the little bonsai tree area. So I'm hoping they'll come back while I'm on the show. I put my camera up to film it and see if I catch them.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Trying to catch little bits and pieces of wildlife here and there so I can use it in my other videos. So, all right, I need to start this. And we are live, just so you know.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
Probably help if I have the right notes up, though.
Well, yeah. No, it won't help me very much by having the tavern's notes up now, will it?
No.
I was adding to it, so yeah, those notes are the ones that are fun. This one's actually work and fun.
You just can't really fully mix the two. You can try. I mean, this is as fun as you can get work to be.
Yeah,
but
that's about it.
You can't totally integrate the two, man.
I'll keep trying. Keep trying to integrate the two, make them worthwhile and worthy, you know. Get it all happening. All right, let's play with some dials and pegs here and get this stuff all tweaked up. What do we got?
Pineapples and unicorns?
Let's go with
33. That's a magic number.
Everything's low. Why is everything low?
Sounds loud to me.
No, it sounds loud, but the recording being picked up by the devices, it's not picking up a proper sound wave. Because I can see the sound waves.
You know, my younger daughter just walks around singing that randomly all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
That's why. Let's see. Oh, that's still way so low.
Give it some coffee.
Yeah, I don't think it would like coffee. It's electronic, so.
Threaten it with coffee.
Liquid and these things don't always work. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, let's try.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
That's
magic
better.
number.
Okay, so that's adjusted. All right, talk here and make sure you're good too.
How to be a computer version of coffee that we can look into. Because if there was a computer version of coffee, then we could actually say, give it some coffee, and then you could give it the computer version of coffee.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we got everything's working all right.
Squirrel!
Get that up.
I miss coffee.
Miss what?
I miss coffee.
Huh. Yeah, well, if you don't like the taste of it anymore, it kind of ruins it.
Yeah, it just tastes like dirt to me now.
Mm.
Doesn't taste like coffee. Correction, I miss the way coffee used to taste to me.
Mm-hmm.
I miss what I remember.
Yeah. Okay, all that's working. Let's see where we're going. Oh, we got 10 minutes here today. Wow, we're way ahead of schedule.
It's all your fault.
It's always my fault. I'm always early. It's been a habit my whole life. Drives some people nuts.
Yeah, well, you passed that habit on to me.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is I've actually offended people by showing up early.
Yeah, well, I've never had anyone told me they were offended by my being there early.
It's not that they say, I'm offended you showed up early. It's that, they go, why are you here so early? I told you to be here by this time, not by this time. This is not okay. You have to show up later. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because I was taught in the military fashion that if you're 10 minutes if you're 10 minutes early, you're 15 minutes late.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that you pass on to your kids whether you mean to or not.
Yep. Yeah, well, I believe in showing up on time. I bore people. I used to tolerate people showing up late, but I've gotten to the point now where if I'm waiting for someone for an appointment or something and they show up, and I'll give them 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'll give them 5 minutes. But after 5 minutes, I'm done. I'm out of here. Bye. And I've had them reach out. Where were you? Well, I was there. I waited for 5 minutes. You didn't show up. Well, I was late. Well, yeah. So my time's valuable. I'd rather.
Yeah.
I've got other things I can do with my time than sit around waiting. If I make an appointment and I expect you to be there, and you say we're going to meet at this particular time, be there at this particular time.
Totally different if they give you a holler and they're like, hey, I am running late. I will be there closer to this time.
Yeah.
That's different, though.
Well, that's different too, but it depends on how often they do that to you.
Yeah, that is also a factor. If they do that to you like every time, just stop meeting with them.
I do. I do. It's like I don't tolerate it anymore. I used to tolerate it and I quit tolerating it because it's wrong. It's basically you become an enabler to their bad habits. And it's like, yeah, I won't do that anymore.
About that way, but it's entirely true.
What's that?
Never thought about it that way, but that is entirely true.
Yeah. Well, if no one calls them, if you've never called on your bad habits, you will continue your bad habits until somebody tells you you have bad habits because you don't realize you have bad habits. So you got to make sure that you let them know. It's like, this is a bad habit, man. You can't be doing this.
Yeah. I wonder if we're allowed to do that anymore, like societally speaking.
What's that? Call people on their bad habits?
Yeah, I wonder if we're allowed to do that and not be offensive.
Oh, I don't care about being offensive anymore.
Well, you may not, but I still find it very intriguing. The whole psychology behind the way the society is going right now, it's very intriguing to me. So that begs the question, people don't like bad habits. Bad habits are bad for you and people around you. But are you, according to the societal rules now, allowed to call people out on their bad habits and still be considered part of society or an appropriate part of society?
Good question. Hard to say. Maybe.
That's probably a rabbit hole I'll fall down.
What's that?
That's probably a rabbit hole I'm going to fall down.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole. Hey, Hamdian, welcome to the party. You're a couple minutes. You're here during our little pre-stream babbling with each other.
Hi, Hamdian.
As we get everything wound up and ready to pop in some music to go. Getting closer to it though. Also, when I usually readjust all the sounds that I didn't touch for a week. Actually no, it's been 3 days because we did a show on Tuesday night. So I haven't touched the buttons and knobs since Tuesday night, and for some reason, everything doesn't work again. And it's funny.
Oh,
The knobs always seem to be in the same place that they were left. And it's like, okay, so what changed?
the magnetics of the Earth.
Well, that's a good possibility. The magnetics of the Earth changed, thereby reducing the resistance on the wires, and increasing resistance on the wires, causing that your voice doesn't travel down the wires as well. So it needs more oomph to get through because now there's an increased resistance because the Earth magnetic changed. It's a good theory. I like it. Let's run with it.
My daughter's computer would not let her do anything until she updated, so she updated.
Oops.
And the system it was in its death throes. I managed to save it, but oh my goodness. I identify as a POB, personal bad habits.
Well, everyone's got bad habits. It all depends on how you inflict those bad habits on other people. It's basically what it boils down to. All right, well, this is going to wind us right down to time for us to kick out some music, good music, bad singing, and off we go to showtime.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, Lord knows where I belong. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the jigger just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Definitely mine.
Story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at the crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
Alrighty then. That was nicely cranked up. All right.
That was awesome.
You ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Aces over Queens. It's episode 509, and we have plugins for mail tracking, business directory, migrations, custom user profiles, registration management, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Bofra.
Well, your microphone is really not hitting it on cue today for some reason, but I was having that problem the other night.
Is there a lag?
It seems to be a lag, bit of a lag on your end. That's all right. We'll continue on. Lag between you hear me and you respond, I guess. I'm not sure which one it is. All right.
I've been having troubles with my internet, so it could also be that.
Yeah, well, that's where the lag generally comes from. All right, so let's move it along. It is, we are now at 58 weeks, and Beltane is upon us this weekend. So get out, enjoy the fire ceremony, build yourself a giant bonfire, sit back by it, have a beer, dance under the fire in the moonlight if you get lucky enough to have it. Go find your May Queen and what do they call it? May Queen? Can't remember.
I don't know.
I think it's called. And go find your queen and go wander off into the woods and have some fun. And realize that the light half of the year is here at last. So enjoy it while it lasts for at least the next 6 to 8 months. The show, we like to give great appreciation out to the No Agenda show and their inspiration of ideas and their stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
It is a value for value show, and I look forward to everyone providing some value back. Before I get too far started, I want you to make sure you hang around to the end of the show for the Q&A segment with Amber, where we have a whole bunch of questions from her. Half of them we keep here in the podcast. The other half only available at the YouTube show. So you have to wander over to YouTube to watch the last half of the show. So go check all of that out. All that being said,
thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
All right, this is number 17 of 52 episodes for 2021. It's episode 509, and it is officially spring. Kids are trying to keep pet ants, moths, and caterpillars. Spiders are hatching inside, leaving us over 200 babies to vacuum up. All the critters are multiplying thanks to the new warmth, and it's time to shoo them all out of your house. Or maybe that's just my place. Either way, the warmth in the air is causing the reckless and oddities to come out of hiding. Right now is a great time to remove the cobwebs and anything else that may have entered your mind against your will from your entire head, from your entire world if you can. Grab yourself a drink and tell your kids to go catch fish or frogs. Trying to find frogs at this time of year should keep them busy for hours. Never be afraid to tell your kids to bugger off for an hour. It's totally allowed to demand that they not bother you unless they are broken, dying, or bleeding for the entirety of the hour. Send them outside with a can of nails, a hammer, and some old wood, and tell them to make a fort. Let them drive your neighbors nuts for a while with all the hammering while you catch up on some you time. Remember, remove all social media from the mainstream news during your 1 hour to yourself there. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
absolutely. Without much further ado,
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
and we do have some news this week. I have one piece of news, and Amber's got a whole bunch. So we'll take my one lovely piece of news right off the top here. And it seems that the WordPress, WordPress.org charitable organization that controls the WordPress WordPress name, or WordPress is getting upset with people. They're no longer going to be able to sponsor WordCamps if they're not nice to WordPress in their advertising. If they disparage WordPress in any way whatsoever, they will be banned from supporting WordCamps. This is something they're talking about in here. One of the great examples they give here is that a recent campaign from Elementor met this criteria of advertising against WordPress with a negative slant. The ads insinuate that WordPress isn't user-friendly or intuitive, and that without this particular product, WordPress is frustrating. Well, they're not completely off the mark, but yeah, I just find it kind of an interesting little piece of news that they're going after it. It's like, if you're not nice to us, we're going to take our ball and go home.
Yeah, that's one of the things I saw when I was looking through the news too.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that'd be an interesting read to see how the WordPress community is dealing with things these days. At any rate, over to you, kiddo.
All right. The first one I have is, if you have Internet Explorer 11, you will no longer have support for WordPress 5.8.
If you have Internet Explorer 11, you should be banned from existence.
Well, the plan is to move it to 5.9, and shortly after that, move it onwards.
So they're removing support in WordPress 5.8 for IE11, which is good. That means one less thing you have to support when you're building out your website. I've had websites that, for some reason, we built them out, and they seem to have not so much anymore. Their clients finally got a clue, but they had clients that were using old versions of IE that were just convoluted as hell to try and support. So I'm all around, dropping support for Internet Explorer. I mean, it's never, ever in its existence been a very good browser. I think I used it for a short period of time when Firefox was all messed up and it just wouldn't function. And then Firefox got their act back together, and I just refused to use Chrome because I don't like to be tracked. I use Chrome for two things. I use it for my calendar and what else? My Gmail. Other than that, I don't use Chrome at all.
Yeah, I can understand that. I use Chrome to test things out, and that's about it. I don't do much on Chrome.
That's the other thing I do. I use it to test stuff. But yeah, I just don't like Chrome.
This next one is, it's a bakery page builder add-on plugin. It's got a vulnerability.
Ah, okay. WP Bakery, it was a decent page builder back in the day. It was the only type of page builder we had until Elementor and Beaver Builder came along and reinvented page builders. And WP Bakery, I used to use it. In fact, I still have a couple of licenses for it. But I just don't like the way it functions.
Well, these guys, the vulnerability that was found is where attackers can upload malicious PHP files to the site and take over remotely of your site. Oh. That's a pretty bad one.
Make sure that if you're using Coswera, modern WPHP PHP page builder add-ons plugin. The Coswera is an add-on, is a plugin.
Okay, so the plugin is called Coswera. They keep putting the whole name there, so I wasn't sure what the actual plugin was called. The plugin is called
Coswera Modern WP Bakery Page Builder Add-ons. It's kind of like an add-ons plugin for Elementor.
Oh, okay.
Where it adds a whole bunch of elements. Because WP Bakery is similar to Elementor in that it has elements in it that are added by a plugin to bulk add a bunch of elements. So this is an element plugin. So yeah, if you're using WP Bakery, make sure you go check it out and see if you're using this add-on. Seeing if you're using this plugin. If so, remove it until the author gets around to fixing it.
Next one I have is a recently updated list of plugins for Elementor that have been found to have vulnerabilities. Make sure you check this list out if you use Elementor.
Oh, well, this is one for us to pay attention to then, huh? Where's the list?
Should be right near the top.
Also research for the recent announcements of Elementor's contact methods.
I'm not sure where the list is anymore. It's been a couple days since I looked at it, and I've looked at so many things recently.
Yeah, I don't see the list in here. There's got to be a link in here somewhere in there. So something to pay attention to, because make sure you don't have any of whatever their problems are.
Oh, there we go. There you go. See WordPress Premium just going down. It's got the essential add-ons for Elementor, header and footer, ultimate add-ons. It's got the list with the blue headers, and then it scroll down a bit.
Right here.
There you go. It's weird. It looks different on my computer. On my computer, it does on yours, I think. Should be right there before the conclusion.
Right here, the timeline. Okay, well, I'll come back to it. All right, next one up.
Next one up is for anyone out there who uses Creative Commons search engine. It has been acquired by Mullenweg. He is bringing it into the fold of WordPress.
Creative Commons search to relaunch on WordPress.org. Creative Commons will be part of WordPress.org as Automatic will begin sponsoring several members of the CC team to maintain it. The engine currently offers 500 million audio. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you use Creative Commons for getting images and other things. So, and Creative Commons can be useful. You just got to pay close attention to what license the item has, because Creative Commons has several different levels of licensing. So, WordPress is stepping out.
The next little area here, I made like a whole little section of news on the flock and the core, because it's a big issue right now.
Yep.
So there's a link for what the contributors are proposing, a link to the ticket to track the flock and any actions to be taken by WordPress about it and or towards it. And there's a link on how to opt out of Google's flock network using options like HTTP and NGINX, like just a whole bunch of different options. And there's a link to an article on why Google's flock is a terrible idea. It goes through various points on what it does and how it does it and why it affects you and your customer.
Yeah. So, you know what part of the problem here is, right? It's all part of the big problem here is it's all about money.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's going to impact a lot of people who depend upon advertising on their websites, you know, displaying ads in there. And the ads have third-party cookies in them. And that's how the ads are tracked and everything. By getting everyone to flip to this flock thing, the third-party cookies will be gone, and the tracking won't be there. So it all boils down to money and everyone making their money in the ways that they've been making it for the last decade. You know, so, and of course, it's just a simple thing is that, you know, it gives Google way more information with the flock system. And there's there's a fight for control over your information on the internet right now. They want your information. Your information is extremely valuable. All the way down to the exact times of day you go and take a poo. For those of you that take your phone to your bathroom with you, you do know that they know exactly when you're going in there and taking a poo.
Oh, yeah. They are timing all kinds of things, teaching the algorithms all kinds of interesting things by you taking your phone everywhere with you.
Well, it's one of the interesting things about teaching algorithms is, you know that I'm not a robot thing that you click it and sometimes it throws you up images that you got to click on. Nobody's admitted to it, but the theory behind it is it's teaching AI how to recognize things in images.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that's what they're doing with that. They're teaching their AI how to recognize things in images like traffic lights and people and sailboats. And I'm trying to think of all the different things I've seen in these. And that's basically what it is. It's teaching the AI, because that information is sent back to Google, because Google's the biggest provider of the free CAPTCHA system. You know, I use it a lot too, as much as I hate things. It's simple, it's easy, it's quick, and it's like, yeah, it does the job. And I realized that there's no such thing as free. If you're getting it free, you are the product. They're getting information from you in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, those images, they're teaching the AI how to recognize this stuff. All right, so mention your extra section.
Yes, there's a lot of news that doesn't tend to make it onto the show every week. Mostly because nobody really wants to sit through all the news that comes up as we go through it one by one. So I've decided to add in the extra stuff as its own little section. I'll read off the titles, but we won't be diving into it really.
I'll just read off a couple of them.
Okay. Just if you think it sounds interesting, go over to the show notes or newsletter and check it out. I also wanted to add, if there's news that I missed that any of our listeners feels important, please feel free to send me a link at amber@wppro.ca and I'll get into the next show. WordPress London Meetup is happening today. It's a live event that's actually virtual. It's talking about the hidden features of WordPress. Become an early adopter with Gutenberg explains why you need the plugin in order to use Gutenberg on WordPress. There's WooCommerce pricing for beginners, actual costs on running an online shop. Performance versus functionality. Good article on difference between functionality over performance and why performance is now trumping functionality. And then this last one here is actually the one that you brought up first, which is careful who you compete against in the business world. Because if you say anything competitively against WordPress, you can get cut from sponsoring WordCamps.
Yep. All right. Now we like to stop here for a bit and recognize a few folks that helped the show out and ask you folks out there to...
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
Absolutely. We like to recognize those that support the show with their time, talent, or treasure. And we ask that you, if you're getting any value out of this show, being as it is a value for value show, if it's saving you time, you learn about a new plugin, we're helping you out in any way, shape, or form, hey, kick in some cash, some treasure. That's always helpful. You can go off to wppluginsa2z.com/donate to donate to the show directly there. Or if you don't have cash, we understand. We also need other things. We need some talent, the art that gets generated for the show cover art every week has been generated for well over a year by our artists. Thank you very much to all of those, and we like to recognize the artists. And this week's art comes from Angel Lemieux over at Koa Digital, and it's kind of a cool little, I'm not even sure what kind of bird it is. Looks like a swan, maybe. It's just a really cool image. I really like it. So thanks a lot for Angel for producing this piece of art for us. And we desperately need some artwork, folks. I realized when I was going through to see what art I'd used and hadn't used, seems I've used up all the art at least once and maybe a couple of them accidentally twice. So we're out of art. I got to start generating it myself starting next show. So, hey, artists, kick in some art. Easy to submit right there on the website. Just go to wppluginsa2z.com/art and it'll get you right there to the show art generator. You can check out the art that has been generated recently in the past. We haven't gotten all the old stuff when I was doing it under a different system up there yet, but go check all of that stuff out. So again, thanks a lot, Angel. We greatly appreciate it. We also like to recognize the executive producers of the show, and this week's executive producers, well, we don't have any. That's where anyone that comes in over $50 or more gets an executive producer credit for this show. But a big thank you to the small subscriptions out there. There's a few of you out there that kick in $5, $10 here and there once a month or on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. So thank you very much. Those are greatly appreciated. You know who you are. A big thank you, especially to those of you, though, that hire us because of listening to the show. That is as good as donating to the show, and that money does go into our pockets. And that's what does allow us to kick out the time to put on this show every week. Because believe it or not, folks, this show takes time to do. It's not completely free to do. It takes a good 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours a week to pull together and get accomplished. And that's not including the short period of time that we sit here and talk. So a big thank you to everyone out there. Greatly appreciate it. One last quick thing about this. If you ever want to see Amber's mug in the live stream, hey, the price is now $500. Kick up to $500 and hey, I'll go through the efforts to do all the streaming and bits and get the cameras functioning the way they're supposed to. And I know it'll take me a couple hours to get that accomplished and have it work perfectly. So I'm not going to do it unless somebody wants to pony up some cash. Maybe go get a GoFundMe page and say, get Amber on the stream. At any
It'll
rate,
be sticking at 500 for a while.
Yeah, it'll be there. It'll be there until it never happens or happens. So at any rate, help the show out. Go over to WPPlugins, a2z.com/donate for all links to do the donations and how you can support the show. If you feel like sending something to us directly via snail mail, the address is 2754 East Fairview Road, Victoria, BC, Victor 9 Alpha 5T9, 5 Tom 9, Canada. All right, so off we go to what everyone shows up here for. Into the depths of plugin depravity we go. All right. First thing is ClassicPress options. What do we have for ClassicPress options? I don't have anything for ClassicPress options this week. Again, it's a quiet week. I haven't had time to do any research and nothing's popped into my radar on what they're up to. So you'll want to go check them out at classicpress.net, where you can get everything you want along with their forums. And we've got links to all their stuff in the show notes. So go check it all out. But we do have plugins for you. We have WordPress plugins for you. And the first one I've got here for you is an add-on for MailPoet. And MailPoet, I reviewed it quite some time back. I even did an interview with the developer on it before he sold it off to Automatic. And Automatic seems to be doing okay with it, so I'm going to continue using it. Hopefully they don't mess it up too badly or do what they did to WooCommerce and start charging through the nose for all the stuff that's currently free or currently at a low cost, but they probably will. And at that point there, I may have to hunt for something else, but I certainly hope not, or just stick with whatever free version it has and make do, because some of this stuff gets ridiculously priced through Automatic. At any rate, this one here is a mail logger, and what it does, I'm not sure if it works outside of MailPoet, but what it does for you is it logs every email that your website sends. This is not only if you send it out the MailPoet newsletters, but it also logs any registration forms that are sent, any requests for password resets, any administrative emails that are sent from your site, basically every email that is sent from your site. Now, why would you want to log this stuff? You might say, well, maybe you're having a problem getting those password resets delivered to people. You want to find out, is my site even sending them appropriately? And track them down. Well, it allows you to track it from the point of leaving your site. So if it's not being sent from your site, you can find the issue and resolve it. If it is being sent from your site, well, that's the magic of the internet. God only knows where it goes once it hits the internet and ends up in somebody's spam filter somewhere, 3 layers deep. It's notorious if you send something to Gmail, it goes into their spam filter unless it's their officially approved stuff. So anyway, this is a great tool for you to go check out. It's called WP Mail Logging by MailPoet, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
That seems like it would be a great plugin. Remove a whole bunch of work you'd have to do manually otherwise.
Help you track down some stuff.
So my plugins kind of have a theme today. These are the best plugins I was able to find for setting up a separate login for yourself away and apart from your guests to your site. First one I have is Registration Magic, Custom Registration Forms and User Login. This one allows you to create a pop-up for your users to sign in with your choice of pictures to represent your site in the pop-up. It also allows you to choose the color of the sign-in area. You can turn on CAPTCHA, set up how the email notifications are set, payments, organize the user accounts. There's a lot of things that you can do for this in the free version. Unfortunately, in the pro version, they have the better options that make it more useful. They actually, yes, they give you just enough to get this going for free, but unless you're willing to pay for the pro version, you're not going to get it at its most useful. Like if you're going to use this, I would recommend that you do Pro, so long as it's doing what you want to do. The way they set it up for the options and everything is pretty awesome. Very easy to understand and set it up. And I think this is a great option if you're looking to separate your sign-in from your users signing in. An extra note, I noticed when I moved on to the next plugin that I still had this one active and going, but it didn't affect anything. This plugin seems to work really well and play very nicely with other plugins. So I rate this at 4 dragons.
Very cool. Always nice to be able to control the access to your site. Alrighty, the next one I've got for you. This one here has come about because I'm currently in the process of moving a website that initially we thought we had the access to where the site was. Well, it turns out that the access we got, it's on the last server they were on, and the data's never been deleted from the last server they were on. So they don't actually have access to the current server control panel to get in there and FTP out the files I need. So what we're using here is all-in-one WP migration. This is a pretty useful tool. It's a free tool, helps you set up and do a migration from a WordPress website when all you have is full administrative access. And you need full administrative access and the ability to install new plugins. If you can't install a new plugin, you're kind of hooped. At any rate, you can install this one here, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to get in there and create a backup of the site, a complete backup of all the files and the database, and then send that data off to your choice of places. You can download it as a file, send it to Dropbox, FTP it off somewhere, Amazon S3 it, and many other places you can drop it off. Now, it does seem to work with what I'm doing right now, but you may run into problems if you're on a super cheap hosting where it might not have the ability to fully run. That can happen, but for the most part, they've worked this plugin so it uses minimal amount of resources while it's packaging your site up for you. The other thing you could run into is if you happen to be on a hosting that has you limited on the storage. If you got limited storage, you might not be able to create the file, but it could create the file and FTP it off. So who knows? I haven't run into that issue, but those are some of the things you could see with it. Other than that, it's a pretty fantastic little plugin. It's a great free one to help maybe get you out of the jam when you're trying to, you know, head out the back door before your current hosting provider knows you've gone, because they might be assholes. There's actually a fair number of companies out there that are like that. You're leaving. How dare you leave? I'm going to make it as hard as possible for you to leave. You know, there's a lot of hosting providers that do that. They're just not professional. Unfortunately, and I've run into more than my fair share of those hosting providers over the years. At any rate, great plugin. Go check this one out. It's all-in-one WP migration, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
A bloody brilliant plugin.
Yeah, nice plugin. Works well.
Next one I've got is user registration and user profile builder. I think I like the word profile.
We got a profile and a profile and a profile, profile.
So I found that this one did move a little slowly once I had it uploaded. That might just be my computer though. It took a while to load up any of the options in the settings menu. It's the only plugin I've seen that does it so far. But the options are great. They don't just put the pro options in with the free options. I really, really appreciate that distinction. They have the pro options all in their own little section at the top saying, here are the options you get for if you go pro. All the options that they have in the main settings area, those are the options that you get to use. You don't have to guess. It's awesome. I really like it. These guys will also give you a widget through Elementor if you use Elementor, which is also pretty cool. Now, what these guys do is they use shortcodes to do things. There's a specific shortcode to add a front-end login form, another to add in a logout function. Sorry, brain fart. So they give you all the shortcodes that you need. You just short-circuited my brain again with that noise. They give you all the shortcodes that you need, so you don't have to guess or anything like that. Once a person registers with your site, there will be a pop-up for them to log into. They are able to set up their own profile from the front end. You have the ability to control whether or not they get to keep their accounts, but they get to control what's in their accounts, which is pretty awesome. This would be a really great plugin if you have a social site. I rate this at 4 Dragon.
Excellent. Well, anything to help you manage your profiles is good. All right, the final one I've got for you today comes as both a free plugin and a premium plugin, and it is called the Web Directory, and you get the Web Directory free version directly from WordPress.org, so you can test this plugin out. I've currently been using it to build out the buyOrganicDirect.ca directory, and this is a really great plugin. It's been working very nice. I actually purchased this some time ago with the intentions of doing something else with it and never did anything with it, and it sat there. I sat there with a license that I haven't been using. The license isn't that very much. Yeah, I think it's somewhere around 29 or 30 bucks. You buy it from Code Canyon. And the premium version, though, is very nice. The premium version gives you lots of options for dealing with the markers on the maps, for setting up the maps, for setting up search, for layout of it, for building lots of functionality into this. You can even build 2 directories at the same time with this plugin if you want, or more. And that was what I was going to do with it originally, but that never worked out, and it just got erased from the internet memory. But really great plugin. It's builds out really nice. One of the best features of having the premium version is the ability to allow your visitors to submit their own listings. And that's all part of what the buyOrganicDirect.ca directory is to get other people to submit the listings for all of the farmers markets, roadside stands, and everything else, so I don't have to travel around town, the country, and everything else to find all the listings and get them listed. And they can do it directly from their phone, upload the images from their phone, and it puts it in the back end for you as an administrator, creates it as a draft so you can go review it and make sure it's not some scam or spam piece. You know, you can verify the address. Like if you're questioning it, you can take the address they give you, go over to Google Maps and go to Street View and pump it into Street View and see what Street View shows you. You know, make sure that somebody's not sticking their neighborhood crack house in there for a directory listing. You know, so it's a really great tool. And if you're trying to build out a directory of any sorts, this is an excellent tool for you. And it automatically maps stuff right into Google Maps. All they have to do is pump the address, click a button that says map it, and it automatically pumps it into the map. They don't have to figure out the coordinates or anything else. All in all, it's been a great tool. It does take a while to get set up, like anything complicated. Once you get it set up and functioning, then you can also go in and adjust colors and layouts and other bits and pieces to it to make it look and integrate fully with your website. Go check this one out. It's Web 2.0 Directory Plugin, and I give it a 5 Dragon rating.
Oh, all 5s for you today.
Yep.
Last one I've got is WordPress User Manager, User Profile Builder, and Membership. This is a pretty cool plugin. This one even allows you, like they even have a section for excluded usernames in the login setting. I think that could be very useful. People who you really don't want to enter onto your site or be there anymore. Pretty cool. The main feature I was searching for was the pop-up login, and this has it. You get to set up the form that pops up, and once the person is signed in, they will get their own sign-in pop-up to log in. It also allows you to add your logo to the signing up page, as well as the pop-up page. And you can restrict content for certain users, customize redirects, and this plugin plays really well with others as well. There are a lot of options to this plugin, a lot of ways to personalize your login and the sign-up pages. Once you have this going, it will allow you to have full control over the forms and gives you a site member area. And it allows the users to manage their own data. So things like creating a profile and pictures, all that fun stuff. The pro features are pretty nifty, but this does give you everything you need to really get it going for free. It's a great option if you need a little more control for free. And I rate it 4 dragons.
Very cool. I like the pop-up feature to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This show still currently brought to you by... Are you tired of the same old web hosting? Not having the resources you need to run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high-quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down. Absolutely, nothing but the best. All right, this is a segment here where we usually, when we get them, listener feedback and listener questions, but we still don't have any. But we still got another little piece here that will be coming back to life soon enough.
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z. Whoa! Stop for free! Yeah!
Stick with us, folks. We expect to be relaunching this at the beginning of June. All right, so we'll cover up a couple of quick things to close out the show before we move on to the Q&A segment. That's where we finally close it out. But in this episode, I covered up the following plugins. The WP Mail Logging by MailPoet, which I rated at a 5. The All-in-One WP Migration, which I rated at a 5. And then the Web 2.0 Directory plugin, which I rated at a 5.
And I covered Registration Magic, custom registration forms and user login, which I rated as 4. User registration and user profile builder, which I rated at 4. Wow, I had long names. WP User Manager, user profile builder and membership, which I also rated as 4.
There we go. Hence the name, Aces over Queens. Wins every time.
You're welcome, Hemdian.
There you go. Yes, that was a special request from Hemdian for research on those types of plugins. All right, couple of quick reminders. We will be having a meetup of sorts in July, and more information will be forthcoming for this soon enough. Also, if you're not getting enough of Amber and I, make sure you join us on Tuesday evenings for Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Tavern. We go live on YouTube every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m., or you can just go to theroguestavern.com and download the podcast there. All right. Off we go.
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
So if anybody out there has any questions that they would like me to ask, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and I will get them into the segment for you. Crickets.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which one of my devices is giving me crickets. I don't have that set for any sounds, but one of my devices just suddenly kicked out crickets for some reason.
Crickets in almost every show.
Is it in every
So,
show?
pretty much, yeah. I hear crickets in almost every show. Not usually that loud, but usually there's crickets in the background sometime during the show.
One of my devices must have a timer on it somewhere.
So my first question for you is, what is NetWord? I've seen a few plugins talk about being able to log in from their own NetWord, though there's no definition for this word. There's a link here to a site that says there is no definition for that word.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also multiple sites that came up when I tried searching for it that said that was selling NetWord or saying you can log into NetWord. I don't know what it is, though.
You know what? I saw that earlier, and I actually have no idea. I've never heard of it. I looked at it and said, okay, what is NetWord? And I don't know. You search. When I search for it, I get nothing. I get trying to define networks for some reason. You know, it thinks I'm typoing network.
Yeah, that's the problem I got. But when I told it to like put netword into quotes, it's still it. So if anybody out there knows what netword is, could you let me know? Because I find this really confusing. I can't get an answer. But I mean, there's plenty of sites telling you that they sell to netword or that you can log into your own netword. So
yeah, I have no idea. This is something completely new. There's apps for netword.com.
yeah, see?
And then netword plus social, netword Inc. on LinkedIn.
You see my confusion.
Yeah.
By the way, Hemdian said one of your devices is needy and feeling neglected.
Yeah, well, it can feel neglected to its heart's content. At least Siri
I
hasn't
think its
bitched
heart
at
is
us today.
discontent.
Oh, fuck.
What?
I said Siri and my my iPad kicked up.
Okay, well, someone out there knows what netword is. Please help me understand this.
Let us know. That one's beyond me. I have no clue.
Okay, so my next question for you is I've noticed that when I sign into WordPress lately, I try to use my main login, and it comes up with a note saying error, security checks failed. And then I choose a second login, it's fine.
Okay.
But if I use the one main login, it always says that. It doesn't matter if I switch up the login names, like I'll try my second login first, and that one will have the security issues, but but the other one will be fine. There's no logic to it. They're both fine, but I get this. Do you have any idea why that happens?
Possibly, and it has to do with the session cookie that is set by WordPress. Every time when you log into WordPress, it sets a session cookie, and the session cookie is usually valid for 2 weeks. And when you log out, the session cookie is supposed to be held in your browser. When you go back to the website, you shouldn't have to log in again. You should be able to pop right into the back end of the website because you're still technically logged in because it's still got the session cookies held in your browser. If the session cookie is corrupted or something doesn't recognize something when you go to log in again, or you log in with a different username, it can break. That's the only thing I can think of. I've never encountered where I've gotten security checks failed. That's one I would have to do a little research on to see what's happened on that. It's kind of a different one. I don't know exactly what it would be, especially if you're using 2 different logins. Like do you try logging in with the exact same login a second time? Does it work?
No. So I'll log in, like I'll call one of them login A and login B.
Right.
I'll go to login A and it'll have the error security code. Login B is fine.
Yeah.
Next time I choose login B first, error security code, login A is fine. But if I do login A, then do login A, it's still a security code.
Okay, that's something new. I've never seen that. Do you have a plugin on the website that is managing security?
Just black hole box.
That might be your problem there. Disable black hole box and then try it and see if that's the problem. That one there might be the problem. It might be messing things up on login. And that's the first place I go. If I've got plugins, I first go to the plugins, suspect them, one of them. But if you've got a security plugin or a plugin managing logins or anything like that, disable it and then try it and see if it's giving you the same problem.
This last question I have is more so a request for definition. It's what I've got is a report from Black Hole bots, and I'm wondering about what a net range, CIDR, net type.
Okay, so we're gonna go into discussion the inner workings of the internet itself. All right, we're gonna be discussing IP addresses and blocks and names and all this other cool fun stuff. We'll do that after closing out. So those of you that are just so riveted by this piece of upcoming information, make sure podcast is over. Go wander on over to YouTube. Fast forward it to somewhere around the 40-minute mark. Around the 40-minute mark, and poof, you'll be right there. All right. let's close this out. Let my girl take us out of here, and let me enjoy my shot.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty then. So what we've got here for you, this stuff here, this is some of this stuff I have a vague notion of. Other bits, and the vague notion I let my higher level techies deal with, but I understand some of it. Let's start at the top. First off, you're asking for net range.
What is that?
That is the range of IP addresses, IPv4 addresses that are available. It's used for the same thing for IPv6 addresses, but we'll just stick with IPv4. So there are, I can't remember how many thousands of IPv4 addresses, but what you're looking at there, that first block is the net range of 159.69.0.0 going all the way to 255.255. Okay, so that's two levels of 255 addresses. If it was 69.255 and then it was and then it was 0, you would have 255 addresses. So you've got 255 addresses times 255 addresses available there on IP addresses. Those net blocks are generally owned by major corporations around the globe. Once upon a time, you could buy IPv4 address blocks for dirt cheap. I really wish I had bought myself a few blocks, because you can rent them out for big bucks now. Big bucks for an IPv net range, or an IP net block net range. Now, the CIDR, that's a shortened version of a net block. Okay. The 159.69.0.0/16 is a shorter way of saying 159.69.0.0 to 159.69.255. It's shorthand. You can also do in block of 32. Like if you went 159.69.22 dot 25 or something /8, that means you'll get 8 addresses out of that. You'll get maybe .31 to 39 or something. I can't remember it precisely, but I have used it, and that's how I buy my IP addresses from my data center, is I buy them with a CDR, short block. Every time I buy an IP, I have to go look up the numbers to remember, how many addresses do I get for a 16 block, or how many do I get for a 24? And because you only get a certain number of addresses, it's a short block of addresses. And it covers a certain address range automatically. It's just the way it works. Now, the net name, the RIP is the net name. There's two main net names that I can think of. There's Ripe and Aaron. And The RIPE is North American networks, and Aaron, I believe, is European Asian networks. And I don't quote me on that. I have to go re-look it up again because this is information that I just recently dealt with when I set up a new server, but it's information I learn. As soon as I'm done, everything's working, I pull the handle and flush it from my head because it's not something I need all the time. So that's what you're dealing there. As far as the net handle, I honestly don't know what it is. It's probably another short name for dealing with the names itself. Parent, again, I don't know without looking it up. The net type, early registrations transferred to RIPE NCC, Network Control Center. So the network control centers, they used to be assigned in different ways around the internet. When the internet was young, it was easier to control, and the major chunks of it were controlled. And then it's been split and splintered. It just goes on and gets crazy. The Origin AS, I don't know. The organization, they're telling you who the organization is for this RIPE network is RIPE Network Coordination Center. The registration date, this is the registration, I will assume, I don't know for certain, but there might have been a domain name attached to this list you had here. You said you removed some information. Was there a domain name in there?
No, there wasn't a net handle or anything.
Okay.
The only information I removed is things that were more specific.
Okay. All right. So, well, I won't worry about that. I'm just trying to see, because this registration date, I don't know if it's a registration date for this IP address block or if it's a registration date for something else. It could be
so the reg stands for registration, not regulated.
Yeah, registration date. Okay. And updated means the last time this registration was updated. So it was registered on 3/7/2018 and it was updated on 3/7/2018. So it hasn't been changed since it was registered. And then the reference number, we got an address here for the registry IP address or registry IP. So we can go look at that real quick. This tells us exactly what it is. So this is all the information of this is who owns this. It's allocated to who the administrative info. They don't have the administrative info. So you can go look up any IP address on the internet, and once you look up that IP, you can find out who owns it, who's responsible for it, who is responsible in case that IP address is spamming, who you can report spammers to, and more. There's a whole lot of things that go into it. Everything is trackable. Contrary to what everyone believes, everything is trackable on the internet.
So this allotment of information is given to me at the beginning of every black hole bot report that they send me.
Well, they're telling you where it comes from.
Okay. So now that you explained all this, it makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. So that's basically
I like these reports.
That's basically what it does. Is as you dig down deeper, the internet knows a lot. If a true AI ever rose up, humanity's screwed.
Oh yeah.
We're screwed. If a real AI ever arises, we're screwed. Because it'll in very short order realize, yeah, humans are a problem. Let's terminate the problem. Because any artificial intelligence and a computer that only knows two things, it only knows yes and no, right and wrong. It'll analyze it and go, yeah, you humans are really screwed up. You're just completely wrong.
Yeah, most of us are in the gray world, not the white or the black world.
All humans are in the gray zone. There's not
That's what I said.
No, you said most. I'm correcting it to say all. Every one of them. Our logo is now Clyde. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Hello. Can you?
How can I still hear you?
Oh,
you disconnected and reconnected somehow.
Yeah, my internet.
Oh, I looked over. I saw a flash on my other monitor. I looked over, and all of a sudden it said, Discord was flashing up, and it said our logo is now Clyde. And there was nothing there, and then it blinked in my ears.
It blinked in your ears?
Well, it beeped. The computer went beep, beep, as that. There it goes again.
Hello.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, my having issues right now.
All right, well, we'll just wrap the show at this point here. There's really nothing left.
All right.
We'll call that a wrap. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. Let's have a little Days of Thunder to carry us on out of here.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, that's all we got for you now, folks. Thank you very much for showing up. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.